This is Continuum Drag, a podcast where we watch sci-fi, fantasy, and everything in between. This week, Wishman.
I can't believe this.
Maddie.
How could you do this, Alex? He doesn't belong to you.
I know.
Oh, it's not fair. You've turned our lives upside down without even asking me.
It's gonna be okay.
Then what the hell are we doing in Oxnard?
You know, I didn't plan it this way. I just did it. What do you want me to say, Maddie?
Something intelligent and rational.
They want to kill him and take him apart. You see that? He's upset too.
Welcome to Continuum Drag, the podcast about disgusting little freaks. I'm Luke, here with my co-host Jordan. What's real, Jordan?
Luke, you know what's funny? I also refer to him as a freak in my notes. I was like, look at this little freak.
He's a little freak. I hate him.
I don't hate him.
Oh, I do. Let's find out, because we have a guest here. Maybe she has an opinion as to whether you should hate him or not. Welcome to the podcast, Allie.
Hi.
You sounded sad about it. Is it because of Wishman? Sorry, Wishman?
That was the most upsetting part, actually.
That he's not called Wishman?
Yeah. Also, hello.
Hi. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Obviously, we're going to talk about Wishman. We already want to so badly. But before we do, usually when we have a new guest on, we just like to kind of ask them in general, is science fiction TV what we cover on this podcast? Is this something you watch normally, or did we make you watch something you don't normally get into?
No. No, but if I do watch it, like, this is the best stuff because it's like you can like laugh at it. Like, I feel like it's not. I feel like when sci-fi is too cool or like trying to be too cool, then I just have that's when I fall off. But I don't like sci-fi. Long way to say that.
Well, this is definitely not too cool, so.
Yeah. No, it's perfect.
I like how long it took you to get to that answer. It was just
circle.
Well,
I don't want to be rude, and I don't.
Rude.
It's not everything, but it's just I never reach for it.
Not your taste.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's fine.
What about puffy little freak men?
No,
with
it was
puffy
horrible.
Little feet?
You know what? The feet, I didn't know what his face was going to look like based on the feet and the hands. I was picturing something else. And so I was actually really upset when his face appeared. Which is probably, they were also upset about how that turned out because you like don't see his face. They hide his face at every turn. But
well, this week we are watching the failed pilot for a apparently attempted TV show called Wishman. I don't know if either of you saw this, but I did notice a trivia piece on IMDb that said that this was released in the wake of E.T., and I guess everyone was sort of chasing their own E.T. at this point.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny. I read that too. It makes sense, right? Like, you're like, oh, it was such a big hit. Like, E.T. was the biggest movie of all time when it came out, and then you're like, well, of course they want to make it. And you know there was some executive like smoking a cigar, like, get me an E.T. And they do this thing, and it's like, but when you're watching this, I'm like, what is the show? What is the show?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like they, like, I want to say they spent money on the little Wishman character, but it sure doesn't look like it.
Well, I mean, one thing this has going for it is it has a pre-Terminator Linda Hamilton.
That's right.
Yeah, she looked
really
good.
the only claim to fame from the show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you because I looked into a couple of people working on it. So Mark Dodson, he did the voice of Wishman, and he's done just a bunch of puppet stuff. He did like Star Wars and Gremlins and stuff. So there's a big star. And then the director of this, John Frawley, also directed the Muppet movie and, Luke, not one, not two, but 3 TV Columbo movies. And
That's what you're the most excited about, isn't it, Jordan?
Yeah. And John Stern, the writer of this, wrote this and one episode of a TV show called Partners in Crime. That's his entire career.
Makes sense.
Better than mine.
Yeah, there you go. It's like you can't pick at him too much. He got it. He got that episode of Partners in Crime.
I'd kill for a Wishman on my resume. Well, this aired on June 23rd, 1983. And Jordan, just for you, we have done two things from that era, from 1983. We've done a TV movie and a series that we've watched before from 1983. Can you guess what those might have been?
I bet the series was what's that one with Courtney Cox in it? The Misfits of Science?
It was not. It was Automan.
Oh, Automan. Yeah. With Lucille Ball Jr. And what was and then there's a TV movie. Was it the guy who got electricity powers?
I'm afraid not. It was Starflight, the plane that couldn't land.
I forgot about that one.
That plane, it couldn't land. It just couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, enough preamble. Let's get into it. Here's the IMDb summary for Wishman. Wishman is a genetic experiment condemned to spend its life in the lab. Two employees decide it deserves freedom, so they escape with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the whole movie.
It's not right.
Yeah,
Allie's correct.
Well, one person escapes.
Not. It's not right because he was not he was condemned to be like taken apart and murdered immediately after 5 seconds of him failing at one thing. So
well, to be fair, they asked him to put logs onto the car, and he put little people onto the car. So they were like, "Kill him."
That's what I was like. Isn't he a baby of whatever this is? Like, doesn't he get at least a few days?
No, the market economy. They need to get this guy into the market.
Let's talk about this because we open up with a scientist named Dr. Harold Wishman, or Wishman.
No, it's not. It's Dr. Harold Wish.
Is it just Wish?
It's just Wish.
Oh, dear God.
Which makes it all the more confusing.
He's bioengineered a scary little freak in a fish tank full of piss.
I like the opening. You get like these petri dishes and stuff. It's like real quick, like they're getting to it, and then they pull out this really bad baby doll, which, by the way, didn't look more human than the little freaky Wishman does. I was like, oh, it looks like a normal baby, and then you're like, nope, he's freaky looking.
And this is, of course, Wishman. You're right. Wish is his dad. They named him Wishman after him. He is a prototype to be a slave workforce that can withstand electricity and radiation, and it can also control radiation? Or no, electricity?
I wasn't sure if that was an accidental byproduct or they wanted it to be, but I don't think anyone really thought about it while they were making it.
I thought he was just like a mule, like meant to lift heavy things, and then he randomly had the ability to control electricity. But I'm thinking, like, I just didn't understand. They didn't really explain the electricity part, right?
Not
or
really.
Did I miss that?
You didn't miss it. They said he was supposed to withstand it, but then he was like, he also has electricity powers. So they show like his birth and development over like a year, I think. They keep giving us timestamps, being like, now he's walking. I'm like, okay.
Well, that's why they designed those little antenna things he has, so you can have the little electricity effect run between them.
I wish they weren't there.
Allie, can you describe what Wishman looks like?
He looks like, I thought he would. Okay, I don't even know how to begin. He has like lumpy. Like the first thing we see is he has like lumpy feet and like lumpy hands. And then you don't see any other piece of his body. Because he's in... Do you? No, even from the beginning?
They hide
He wears a hoodie at all times.
He wears a hoodie. But is he wearing a hoodie in the facility? Because that doesn't feel like it's to code, you know? Is that true?
No, I don't think he wears a hoodie the whole time. Later.
Oh, yeah, I think he wears a hoodie later. Anyway, whatever.
You're right, because for the first bit, we just get his point of view, so we never see what he's wearing at the beginning.
Right. He's probably naked. Right?
Definitely.
Do you think he has a normal looking butt, or is it weird too?
It's lumpy. For sure. But then this is where I got upset because then you see his face and it's smooth.
So smooth. Too smooth.
It's too smooth. And his eyes are like glass, like he just has like big creepy bug eyes. His face he looks like a bug at the top and then like lumpy at the bottom, and he's like flesh colored.
It's that he's flesh colored. He's too fleshy.
And honestly, the antennas being fleshy were I don't know if they were as upsetting to you guys as they were to me. But from the back angle, when you ever saw behind him and they were moving, it was not.
You know they were like, well, E.T.'s ugly, but he's also kind of cute, and there's a cinematic quality to him. He's instantly recognizable. You know, they were like, get me that, but for $20 and tomorrow. And the guy making it's like, okay, what about this freaky thing? They're not gonna put this on camera. And it just is like it looks like the first pass that they had at this thing before like it went through a huge notes process. Like guy, we can't give him these weird little fleshy nubs on the top of his head. It looks gross. And like, no, we'll just keep those in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He looks like a drawing.
Well, that's basically what Wishman looks like. Now, here's the strange part I thought was when it starts, you meet Wishman, you meet Dr. Wish who created him, and I'm like, all right, makes sense. I understand who the characters are. And then they're like, oh, but our protagonist isn't the man who created Wishman. It's his underling, Dr. Alex McGregor, who is somehow the protagonist of this. And we know that because at some point when they're experimenting and creating this little monster, he goes outside and watches a groundskeeper mow the lawn with his son, and he's just like, oh, this man wants to be Wishman's dad?
Were they mowing the lawn together? I thought they were trying to show that like this father and son were playing, but
I don't think they were
pushing each other.
Mowing the lawn didn't occur to me.
Yeah, I think he was the groundskeeper and he was taking care of the grounds, and his like preteen son was helping him take care of the grounds at the facility.
The point, Luke, is he looks out, he sees this beautiful father-son moment, whether they were pushing or cutting the lawn, doesn't matter, and his morality clicked in, and he said, like, what the hell am I doing? That little freak there, he could be a son to me. I'm gonna save him.
But I feel like we're skipping ahead because I feel like that only happens after they say we're killing him.
That's true. That's true. Wishman is extremely dumb. They've genetically engineered him to be extremely dumb.
Wishman.
Yeah.
Well, to Allie's point, though, he's dumb, but he's also they make it very clear with the like kind of cooing noises and stuff that he's a toddler. So the expectations, I think, if I'm allowing this maybe more than they give, is that he is supposed to be growing at a rapid pace, so thus maybe his intelligence should also be growing at said pace, and so they're expecting him to be able to do tasks that an adult could do very early into his gestation, I suppose.
Yeah, like put logs in a truck.
Yeah, but he can't do it.
So did anybody else... Wait, I have one comment about the logs and the man and the people. I had no context going in, and I was like, it's a horror. Like, immediately the second I saw him pudding, I was like, oh, this is like a Frankenstein's monster situation. And for most of the movie, I was waiting for him to, like, turn. But he never did. Spoiler.
Yeah, he's got heart of gold.
A better show, for sure.
Right? I was excited to see him just, like, put real people into real dump trucks. That's what I was thinking was going to happen.
That would have been so good.
Yeah.
That actually is good. He finally gets it, but it's in a horrible way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a better movie.
Like, he was like, kill humans, not help humans, you know? That's what I was thinking.
As opposed to in this, giving him a power of electricity and then just being like, anyways, he has that. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter to the show at all. He sort
of has the power to control it. Maybe. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of helps him later, but it just doesn't make sense.
Jordan, I have a question for you. This facility they're running Wishman out of, we've seen this in another show before, haven't we? I'm positive we have.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I couldn't pin it on anything, but I also felt the exact same way, so it must be. We must have seen this somewhere.
I could picture some other show where people are being like put into like cryogenic storage or something. I was like, what did we see this before in this weird facility?
Yeah. Anyways, whatever this is, it's probably the same world. This is just an evil corporation doing lots of evil stuff.
Yeah, yes. And of course, we'll get back to it. Dr. Alex, he's unhappy when he hears the corporation, because Wishman is not progressing because he's too stupid, wants to start a new version of him, which means that they need to dissect Wishman, and very explicitly, they need to dissect Wishman while he's alive.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they even say at one point, they're like, the nurse or doctor, I'm not sure who she was, and she's like, they've told us to keep him alive and awake as long as possible. I'm like, why? He's not going to respond. It's not like they're doing tests on his brain. They're like, what are you experiencing right now in this horrible torture way? They're just like, we just want him to experience this of his last moments. My
impression is that it was a very sad attempt at raising the stakes. You know? Like, not only are we murdering him, but he's going to be alive through the whole procedure till the bitter end. So I think that's like, I mean, it didn't make me feel any type of way. I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Continue.
No, I'll say it. I was fine with him being dissected alive.
Let's cut him open and see what he looks like.
I was like, I'm not very attached to this bug man. Like, I don't know. I didn't care.
Well, it needs to happen because corporate knows if they don't dissect this little monster alive, they'll get beaten to market by the other companies trying to genetically engineer a slave race.
Well, there's a couple things about that. One, it's like, could there be a lot of companies that are doing this? It seems like this is a singular idea.
They
that
said they'll
had.
be
Not
beaten
that, like,
to market, and I was like, "What do you mean?
Yeah.
You're?"
That's my first point. The second point is like, let's say it doesn't work. You would think, okay, they might have a backup plan. They're like, let's try Jimmy's idea, which is we're gonna go with the second petri dish, and while we're doing that, let's continue having a small team work on Wishman, so that maybe in the meantime you have a little bit of fail-safe happening. Why you'd want to cut him apart after spending all this time makes no sense to me. This is not like just an animal you've brought in that they've done testing on and it went badly. This is something they've spent seemingly quite a bit of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars to create this thing.
Don't ask me about the economics of it. I don't know.
Well, I also don't understand. They grew him from a baby, more of like a fetal situation, but they have to dissect him. Like, just start again, just build another baby. Like, grow another one.
They don't have time.
Like, why are they cutting him up? Yeah,
They
but
gotta
what
get
is
to
cutting him up doesn't do anything. I don't understand. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
I think
in
you're
this
right,
world.
though. I think as a viewer stepping out of it, I think what you're supposed to feel is this corporation is so evil. I'm on Alec's side because I also don't want this, what is seemingly supposed to be a very cute little creature, get killed. It's unfortunate that he's a freaky looking thing. But you go, oh no. So thus we will justify his corporate espionage of trying to steal
Jordan, as soon as
this
you
product.
saw him give a high 4, you knew you had to keep him alive.
Well, that was my originally what's real, but then I got distracted. But yeah, the high 4, they bring it back later in the show. They're like, high 4. Someone's like, this is we've got something here.
Dr. Alex is like, I gotta save Wishman. He can't be dissected alive. So what he does is he sedates Wishman and then absolutely manhandles Wishman's unconscious body into an empty bag of dog food. Like, he's flopping that puppet around. He broke its neck for sure, shoving it in that bag.
It was rather rough how he did it. It was like watching like kids do professional wrestling moves. You're like, why? Just be gentle with the thing. You're saving him from one torture only to put him in another.
He treats it like it's not alive, which really undercuts the whole premise.
Yeah, to be like later on in the car, like when they left him in the car and they're like, we're just gonna leave him in the trunk. Like, it looked like a pretty hot day, and I was like, you guys aren't. If this is how you treat your new son, like, you're not doing a very good job. That's how I felt.
We do find out he can fit in 2 bags of dog food though.
Because he put one over the top.
That's right.
Did he?
Yeah, one on the top, one on the bottom.
I don't remember that either. I thought it was 1 bag of dog food.
It's 2. Go back and watch it. It's 2 bags.
Here's my question for you. He puts him in his bag of dog food so he can sneak him out. And before he leaves, he's like, I need a distraction. So he opens all the rabbit cages.
See, I thought he was trying to free the rabbits. And I was like, to go jump on the ground to their death. Like, they were up quite high, and because he's like, Happy Easter, you're free. But he doesn't, they're still in the room of the laboratory. Like, I don't even understand.
Yeah. I thought it was more just the pandemonium of you know how crazy things get when there's 4 to 5 little rabbits running around. You can't get anything done.
I don't know. Maybe you're right, Allie. Maybe it was just like his kind. We were supposed to see him saving the cat, I guess. He's saving these rabbits. In my mind, I was like, he's letting them out so they're running around and the facility is in chaos because there's rabbits. But yours makes more sense.
But it doesn't, because he's letting them out to go nowhere and to just be picked up and put back in their cage if they survive the fall from... Do you know how delicate rabbits are?
And much to Allie's point, wouldn't it have been great if he saves Wishman and he's like, I finally, like, I've done this great thing, and Wishman immediately, like, bites the head off a rabbit or something? You're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have got this creature out. That'd have been better. That's more interesting. Or and he has to teach him, no, you need to be gentle. You can't just bite the heads off things.
All he does is, like, turn on a dishwasher.
He just turns very awkwardly and just goes, that's all he does.
Well, Dr. Alice was able to escape with him, and he drives out and interrupts his girlfriend Linda Hamilton's parrot bikini photo shoot.
Yeah.
This had the only gag I liked in the entire thing is we see this like wide shot establishing they're at this like photo shoot of women in swimsuits having to hold parrots. And the editor has chosen to, the camera pans by and you just see these women with these parrots and you just hear the voiceovers, just this guy being like, just hold the parrot, just hold the parrot. And then you hear a caw and a woman scream and then it edits hard out of there like as she screams. And it's just like, that's the only joke I liked in this whole thing.
And it was irrelevant too. Like it had no, but it was great.
We never saw the woman disfigured by the parrot that was she attacked her. We never saw anything.
Well, Alex goes and he's like, hey, Linda Hamilton, do you want to, can we go for lunch? And she's like, it's 5:00 or something like that. He's like, a drink? And then she's like, okay. And she goes down. And I don't know if you caught it, but like, Jamie disagreed with me. There's no way this conversation took from light to dark because they started the conversation. She's like, so who is he? And then they cut away to show something else and they come back and it's dark. And he's like, it's Wishman. I was like, how long are they sitting in the car for? It was dark at night.
I didn't catch
that. That is not what I thought you'd be upset by, Jordan. What I like is he shows up. He's just like, let's go out. He shows up at her work. She's in the middle of a photo shoot. And he's like, can we leave? Can we go get a drink or something? And she's like, okay. And she turns around. She's like, that's a wrap, everybody. Go home. I was imagining you at work being like, you guys, I got to go. My friend just showed up. I'm just going to wrap the day.
I mean, those people are on 12s. You can't wrap them now.
But yes, you're right. They drive off, and they've got Wishman in the car, and he reveals himself by climbing out of the bag of dog food. And Linda Hamilton reacts appropriately. She screams at the freak monster she sees.
Yeah, and it would be nice if he could emote a little bit more in his little mask puppet thing. So, like, let's just quickly. Is it a child wearing a mask?
I have a different thought.
I think it's
a little person.
I think so too.
Yeah, because I feel like I would have to cut this out. But its butt's really big.
that may be the
like
costume.
It's not a baby. It's not a child.
That might be the costume.
No. I don't think. I think it's a little person in a sweatsuit. I don't think there's more going. I don't know. You'd have to rewatch
you're right.
it.
You're right. When it's dressed up in its hoodie and sweats, you're right. There probably is just a person in that at that point.
Yeah, the hoodie and sweats. Yeah. And to be honest, there's one part that I really didn't like, which is when it's irrelevant to now, but later on he picks up Wishman and holds his butt cheeks.
He holds him by his butt?
I don't remember that part.
It's the part where he it's later on and they're very upset and then they're considering, he's like, maybe I'm gonna give him back, and then he picks him up because he's like, I want to come up, and then he picks him up and he's holding this person's butt cheeks. Like it took me out of the moment entirely.
No intimacy consultants on this movie show. Just
no.
grabbing people by their butts left and right.
You have to go back and watch it.
But we should say the reason he wears all sweats and a hoodie is clearly because they only had the hands and the mask. And then obviously the first shot of the feet. So they were like, well, we got to cover him most of the time. And then we also want to shoot him from behind where we don't even want to have the mask on. So he's wearing this hoodie. And like, I get it. But it's also like, it's not a great costume. Like, you know, to be like, they could have come up with maybe something that's a little bit more, dare I say, iconic looking. I know it was never going to happen in this, but like, it's just a boring look.
Yeah, I don't even remember what color the hoodie was. Blue,
yeah,
maybe?
Basic blue.
Awesome.
Basic blue.
But yeah, this is what happens. They've got him. They move to a motel, and Alex explains that he's stolen Wishman, and they're kind of on the run now. And there are moments in this where I'm just like, you can tell someone was just like trying to work through the logistics of this. Because like at first, Linda Hamilton's character is extremely disturbed by the monster. And then she's extremely upset that her boyfriend has now ruined her life by making them go on the run from this corporation. And I'm just like, yes, this is totally unfair of the thing he's done to you. But then she turns around, sees him in his hoodie, playing with toilet paper in the bathroom. She's like, but he's just so adorable, and my boyfriend is just such a sad sack that I guess I'm on board.
Yeah. I mean, it probably could have been a little bit more interesting if there was even a slight conflict between Alex and Linda Hamilton's character. Like, okay, I could see that. Like, she doesn't like the idea, but she's sort of forced into it, and she loves him, and he's all jazzed, but maybe makes impetuous choices. It's like, but instead, you're right. They're just like, we love him like he's our kid. You're like, that's weird, guys. It's really weird.
Yeah, she just brings it up like she's upset, and then she's like, but you know what? I love you both, so okay. I'm like, what? You're a high-powered fashion photographer.
Also, don't you think they could have had a couple scenes to show like how Wishman's a little bit fun? Like he's like playing with the toilet paper and stuff. Like even if it was like that annoying thing where he's like he makes things messy, at least that's interesting. Or later on, you would think there'd be a thing where like there's a scene where he gets out and they're like, oh no, Wishman's out, and you're like, oh, is he gonna like run amok and cause trouble and blow out lights and like cars are gonna explode and stuff? They're like, no, he's right over there. He's right over there. He's 5 feet away. He's fine.
Jordan,
like,
he sees himself in a mirror for the first time.
I know that's the stakes have never been higher. He saw himself in a mirror. He's like, ew, what is that on my head?
I was also just like, is he going to be freaked out that he doesn't look like the other people he's seen? No, he doesn't care. He's too dumb.
That's true. I never thought about that. He should have been freaked out. He should have been like, there should be a moment where he looked at himself and he's like, what am I?
Anyway, Linda Hamilton knows a lawyer who can help, so they drive out to the nice part of town, and they go to see this lawyer, but he's busy at work, so they hang out with his wife and their new angsty foster kid. What happened to foster kids on TV? There was a real time where foster kids were everywhere.
It might be like a shorthand for something. I don't know what it is. But I think, yeah, you're right. I haven't seen a foster kid in TV in a while.
And when they go inside to talk, they leave Wishman both in the car and also back in the bag of dog food.
I said it once before. You can't do it while we're having a drink. Both Allie and I both almost had a spit take there. But he went back into the dog food bag?
They had it back because he crawls out of the dog food bag.
Like he couldn't just lie down. He had to be in a bag, in the dog food bag.
Well, A, he doesn't know any better. And B, as we've established, he's not very bright.
But did anybody notice? I didn't, but I meant to go back. Were the windows cracked? Because like that actually upsets me,
Absolutely not. They were absolutely not cracked.
Well, no wonder he got out.
Well, that's just it. He wanders out, and this foster kid finds him, and like you said, Jordan, you expect this to be like, oh, what kind of shenanigans is he getting into? He just finds a tangerine tree in the backyard and starts like looking at a tangerine.
Yeah. It was a real moment for something to happen. And you thought it'd be like, oh no, not only are they on the run because we haven't really mentioned it, but like very soon they start getting chased by some sort of agency, either the company itself or someone hired by the company. But like it could be that plus they've also lost him now. They're looking for him while they're on the run. You're like, oh, okay, that's setting up something, a little bit of drama. But
I mean,
no.
Even the lawyer's wife and his foster kid, they see this like freaky little fleshy glob and they're like, oh, cool. I'm like, no, it's not cool.
It's interesting how little happens in this because like the actual plot is like he breaks him out and they're on the run and they get chased and then eventually it will end in which we'll explain. But like that's it. Pretty much nothing else happened. There's no other like.
I mean, they go to this place. The lawyer finally comes home for dinner. They do a comic gag where he sits down at the table and doesn't notice the like fleshy Cronenberg freak sitting at the table for way too long.
Well, I think the gag there, whether it worked or not, was that he's so concerned with his job and he's so busy and absent-minded that he doesn't even notice when there's this horrific freak sitting at his table.
But the lawyer does want to help. He's like, the Supreme Court has ruled that Wishman is probably corporate property, but if we can convince the court that Wishman is alive, maybe we could get him some rights. And so that's the plan moving forward is like get Wishman some rights.
Could you imagine if this was like a legal drama? That's what this just was. Most of the episode just takes place in the courtroom, having people make arguments about the morality of cutting him apart.
Would have rather that.
Probably, I was going to say, probably maybe more interesting.
Yeah.
But what we get instead is they decide to spend the night at the lawyer's guest room, and Wishman creeps on a nude Linda Hamilton in the shower.
This was one of the most disturbing parts of the experience for me. Because nothing, Like, she just laughs. And then I'm thinking, oh, this is where it escalates. And then it doesn't. And it's just funny. Like, it's not. And then he says, oh, he's just like his dad or something like that. Which is
there's a little bit of
super weird.
There's a little bit of a timestamp of like, isn't it funny just to like peek on a lady in a shower? Like, no harm, no foul. And then she's just like, yeah, you're right. It's all for the boys will be boys. It's like
fleshy little freaks will be fleshy little freaks, Jordan.
Yeah, it's just like, but it was weird because it's like you would think her response is she screams now, and this will be a continuation of her having an issue with him.
Right.
She loves Alex, and she will do what she wants to be supportive, but she doesn't like Wishman because he's a freak, and maybe she's only experiencing the freaky things. Like, he's watching her in the shower, which again, you could actually use like he's never seen a woman before. In his view, it's a very innocent thing. He doesn't realize the social mores that he's breaking. But yeah, she's just like, oh, you little scamp. Anyways, you got a little peek.
I feel like the tone was weird. Like, that didn't fit for me to the rest of it.
It was very odd.
I think they were just like, hey, Toots. You know, the producer was like, hey, Toots, you're going to be naked this shower. The little freak's going to look at you. And she's like, okay, I don't have a career at this point, so okay, I guess I'll do it. She's like, is there an intimacy coordinator? He's like, it's 1982. Not for a while.
I saw somewhere that Linda Hamilton said she did at least get to wear a body sock for the scene, so I felt better about that.
There you go.
Actually?
Yeah. She wasn't actually.
Okay.
She's like, I just wore a full flesh suit for that. She's like, I wasn't being nude for the show.
Fair. Good call.
Which is the right call. But this continues because then they move into the bedroom, and as you said, she tells Alex what happened. Then they start talking about having kids themselves, and it starts turning them on. So they start like really kind of getting intimate, and they're like going for it. And they pull back, and it's been clear that Wishman's been standing there the whole time watching them, and they haven't minded.
Just moaning quietly in the corner.
And they're like, oh, Wishman, do you want to sleep in the bed with us? And he climbs up and sleeps in the bed like a dog, kind of at the foot of the bed. I'm just like, is Wishman a child? Is Wishman a pet? What is Wishman?
It is weird that they do hit that beat a few times, which is, wouldn't it be great, like, doesn't this make you want to have a kid? And then it's like, I'm like, is that your response you'd have to this thing? Like, I don't know if that'd be like, well, we've had to quit our jobs, we're on the run, we've got this freak here, he's peeking at us in the shower, he's messed up the toilet paper, he's touching our tangerines outside. Anyways, we should probably have a kid. It really makes me think about it.
Well, my take wasn't that. My take was when they were doing just the way they set it up, that, okay, we've seen this guy throwing a ball or like playing with his son, and that's what I want, so I'm going to steal Wishman, and now I have what he has what he believes to be a son figure. But then he's like, should we have kids? It's like, you already have I don't know if I can curse. You already have a kid, you know? He's Wishman.
Can curse. It's fine.
He's at... Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know what you... I don't know. I don't want to ruin it. Yeah. But yeah, like, you already have a kid. He's at the foot of the bed. He's watching you right now, you know? Like, that's your kid. Are we going to have kids later? You have kids.
He's watching you right now.
Yeah, quick question for both of you. So we did see they were getting in the mood. They were getting a little intimate. Wishman, as we have to keep saying, because it's not Wishman, it's Wishman, gets into the bed. Do you think they kept smooching?
Like, I wouldn't, but I think they might have, because I don't know.
Wishman crawls into the bottom of the bed and he's there, and you wouldn't keep kissing?
Me personally?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think I'd be done. But also, I probably wouldn't. Like, if I was just accosted in the shower by Wishman, this freak who I met, you know, earlier that day, I probably wouldn't then invite him into my bed. Like, that's
right.
He wouldn't be there.
If your partner showed up at work and said, "Hey, come with me real quick. I got a freak in the back of my car. We're gonna raise him as our son and/or a pet dog. What do you think?"
Yeah, she's pretty trusting.
Yeah, she must love the guy.
He's pretty lovable.
Well, actually, that was a big issue that I had. Like, I don't know anything about him. He's motivated by literally nothing. Like, that could happen to anybody, and nothing's different about him that would make this situation more intense for him. He's just like a dude that works at a lab. That was annoying.
He didn't have real motivation. Like, it's not like he created Wishman. It's not like it was his child that he brought into this world. He just kind of worked there.
Or here's the other thing. What if you had a kid and it died?
Oh.
Immediate escalation. Now you're like, okay, I could see his motivation to so desperately want Wishman.
Yeah.
But without
we needed
that,
a heart for Wishman. We put my dead son's heart in the Wishman.
that's already better. I love that.
What if Linda Hamilton was also a freak, and then because he loved her, he saw Wishman. It was like, hey, he's also got giant eyes and horns, and so then he adopted him. Worse movie.
I don't even get that. That's worse.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Anyway. Well, all this has been going on. The corporation, Chromagene Corp, has called in private security, a man named Gayton Reed. He's there to find Wishman. He's got a high-tech surveillance van that he works out of. It's so high-tech, it even has ChatGPT inside.
I have a lot of thoughts about this.
I loved it. He speaks to the computer. He types in plain language, just like ChatGPT, and he's like, give me all his transactions, and the AI comes back and says that's beyond its ability. So he just keeps saying break business codes, and eventually the AI is just like, okay, here are all his statements.
But he's also like yelling at it, respond, exclamation point.
Oh yeah, he types that in every time.
But the part that is annoying to me is that it's almost like they were trying to set it up like he was talking to it. Like it's the original Siri.
Yeah.
But then he was typing everything. It wasn't like he was saying it to himself. It felt like he was like saying it to the computer, but then he was typing the exact same thing. So it's like, just shut up, you know?
Well, Jordan, that's how you use your computer, right? You're like, subject, new call sheet. No, it was very weird. I found the computer distressing because I was just like, well, how is he getting any of this information? It's just like, it doesn't matter really. It's just a shorthand to get them to the motel they were staying at. And when he gets there, they're gone. So he notices a payphone, and he's just like, let's track this payphone. And they use that to triangulate the location of Wishman because Dr. Wish has equipment that tracks electrical charges from helicopters, which will help them figure out which house Wishman is living in.
I missed all of that.
Yeah, I didn't pay
not
attention
know that.
You just knew that he had to get there, and it was funny that they did it in the most uninteresting way possible. I'm like, there's just lots of ways they could have had him track if that was what they wanted to show, but yeah, it was just boring. It was a boring way of doing it.
It was weird. It was just like as quickly as possible, like the breadcrumbs are like, go to the motel, see a payphone, get in a helicopter, electrical signals. I'm like, what? Okay. What I did like though is Gayton does eventually track down the house. He rings the doorbell. It's like the first thing in the morning. He rings the doorbell and says he's looking for a neighbor, confirms that this is where Wishman is, leaves, and then 8 hours later he comes back at night to get Wishman.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what was his plan? Because it seemed like there was several times they could have just had their sort of team, wherever they were. Like, they weren't police officers, but like their team of guys go in and grab him, like multiple times. And instead they just give up their hand. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, why be like, I'm outside? Just go in. Like, aren't you supposed to be scary? Like, aren't you a character that one should be frightened of that would come into your home? Not be like,
He's very theatrical.
I'm waiting. Just anytime now.
They gear up. You see him get all his guns together, and then they phone the house. The lawyer picks up. He's like, hello. He's just like, hi, this is a call for Wishman. Please turn on your television. And then they hang up. I'm like, what? Please turn on your television. And they turn on the TV, and they've hijacked the TV signal, and they're just sitting in the van. It's a shot of them sitting in the van being like, hello, please give us Wishman back.
Yeah, it was weird. They went to all that trouble.
And then my favorite is the extra TV. Like the TV they turn on inside of the TV to like show that they're watching him. But it's because it's like in the 80s and it's TV on TV. I couldn't tell what was on the second TV. It was too fuzzy. So I'm assuming it was them in the window, but I don't really know.
Yeah, it was. It was them in the window watching the TV.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, this is just it, and they're just like, please send Wishman out, and we'll let you all kind of go about your day. I skipped ahead a little bit, because what we missed sort of was, this is the setup. It's like, give us Wishman back, and Dr. Alex, during the course of that 8 hours where Gayton left and came back later, Dr. Alex has been deciding what to do about Wishman. He's now sort of changed his mind about going the legal route to get Wishman rights for some reason. Oh, yeah,
they have this argument. The lawyer and him have this argument, like, out of nowhere, where he's like, this legal argument doesn't matter. It's more than that. And I'm like, why are you guys arguing? Like, it's just like, it came out of the blue, and I'm like, these two characters I know nothing about. They're so two-dimensional. Now they're having an argument. I don't know whose side I'm supposed to be on. And I'm like, is this just a scene? It's just a scene for some reason?
It's supposed to show us the connection that Dr. Alex has with Wishman. This is where he comes in and he, like, gives Wishman a big hug.
And picks him up by its butt.
Kicks him up by his butt. And the lawyer is watching this, and Dr. Alex is crying. Wishman is a blank-faced enigma of, like, nothing. And the lawyer's just like, he has emotions. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Like, the lawyer's so impressed by the emotions that Wishman is feeling, but Wishman is just like, the puppet is incapable of creating anything but like a blank stare.
He has a lot of Botox.
But this somehow reminds the lawyer that he has a foster son, and he goes out and hugs
That's the best part. That was the best part. He's like, he has feelings, and he says his actually Alex's reaction was, everyone does, which was so weird. And then off of that, he looks out at his foster son as if it's like, oh, also my foster son has feelings? Okay, I'm going to go be a dad now. Like, that was the best. That was my favorite part.
That was the best part. I agree. The connections, the tenuous connections there. I did not know where it was going. I'm like, oh, this is supposed to make him love his stepson?
And then the wife's like, look, he's not a piece of shit anymore.
It resolves all of our familial issues we had for this episode. So it's nice. It's nice they got that out of the way. Anyway, we'll go back. Gayton's there. He wants Wishman. They are like, all right, we'll send Wishman out. But they do the old switcheroo. So what you see is two adults walk out with someone's short and a hoodie. And they're like, you've brought us Wishman. And the camera pushes in like a horror movie. And like the kid in the hoodie looks up, and it's like the foster kid in the hoodie. He looks up and he's just like, hello. I was like, oh, this kid's so scary.
Well, here's another thing. Why did they do that? Why did they give it away? Because like they pull it and then they're like, they go close. He's like, hello, whatever he says. And then just at the time they break out of the garage and drive away. I'm like, just do that while they're distracted. Don't give it away. They gave away that it was a little kid. We know Wishman can't talk.
Also, why can't they touch each other? Like, why can't the evil guy... I forget all the names. I'm so sorry. The Gayton? Is that what you said? I didn't even know that was his name.
Gayton Reed.
Why can't Gayton Reed, like, interact in any capacity with the... Like, go up and grab the little... Like, what he thinks is Wishman, and he's got him, and he looks up, and it's like, psych. Yeah. You know, like, that would be better. But he's like... At no point was he even close to getting him.
No, he doesn't get anywhere. He doesn't want to touch that little freak.
You're right though, Allie. If they had a scene where like finally they burst in and they grab him, like we got him, and they run him out, and then on the way up they look, they're like, oh no, it's not him. That would be like, you're like, all right, that's at least an interesting scene. But they were like, right. No, we can do. What would be the least interesting way to shoot this? and they did it.
They did it. They succeeded.
But you're right. Wishman and Dr. Alex and Linda Hamilton, they escape in their car. They're driving away. But of course, because Wishman is stupid, he uses his electrical powers to short out their car. And it's in front of a warehouse. They're like, oh no, we have to run inside this warehouse. And they're like, Wishman, use your electrical powers to open this garage door, which just sets off an alarm and gives away where they are. The whole thing, I'm just like, what is happening here? And I hated this so much. They're running through the warehouse with Wishman because the bad guys are coming. But Wishman is quite small. He doesn't have the gait of two of these like full-grown adults running. So Wishman can't keep pace. So they are dragging this actor. They're dragging this poor actor behind them. Like they're holding his arms and dragging him. I was like, this is awful. I hate watching this.
But on Wishman's side, he has these powers. And he's able to create a nice delay tactic of maybe moving a forklift? Is that what he did? He moved a forklift?
He did it. He got it to go forward, but then also all the contents spilled. But I don't know how that happened.
It wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear. It was pretty stable.
Because he wasn't in the room. You'd assume he had to be in the room to do it. And he had it start going, and then they left the room, and then it fell on them.
Yeah. It wasn't great.
Well, it makes more sense when you get to the next room where they hand Wishman a live electrical cable, and then when the bad guys come in and surround him, Dr. Alex flips the electricity on, and then just sparks sort of start shooting out from places. I didn't understand what's happening. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like he's electrocuting the bad guys.
I know, it was weird because I think it would have been nice if they had sort of, like, you kind of found out that he had electrical powers and, you know, it wasn't quite working the whole time. And then finally there's this culmination of stuff when it really matters. He's able to, you know, pull all his powers together and do something good for them. But you're right. The way it was done was because I think there was a bunch of batteries, like sparks go off.
Just sparks.
But it doesn't actually hit any of the bad guys or do anything. It would be like you walked into a room and on the perimeter of the room, people have sparklers. You'd be like, all right. Okay.
It's disorienting, Jordan.
Yeah, it's a little weird, I guess, but it's like they're like, ah, like guys.
They literally
calm down.
run
Like,
away and are
nothing.
arrested by the police while they escape. I was just like, I don't know what just happened here.
No one in this film is injured at all, and I don't like that. You know? Like, not even a little bit, not even like a small, like a first-degree burn or like a scraped knee.
It's true.
Well, if Alex hadn't interfered, Wishman would have been injured and he would have been awake while it happened.
Right. But he wasn't.
He wasn't.
No, unfortunately.
But did you notice the one little extra thing they did though when they were the police were arresting everyone and Gayton, is his name Gayton? He while they're grabbing all the guys, he pulls out like some sort of badge or something, being like, "Hey, you can't arrest me." And I was like, "Oh, future episodes, he's above the law or something. He's gonna keep chasing them." But there won't be future episodes. No one making this thought there'd be future episodes.
I didn't see that, and I was confused how the police came, and then all of a sudden he was like walking with Dr. Wish again.
Yeah.
Like that confused me.
He flashed some sort of badge.
Oh. What badge would that be?
Corporate security badge. I'm above the law.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super weird.
Yeah, but he does go back. He meets with the head of the company and Dr. Wish, and the head of the company is mad that he didn't get Wishman back, and Gayton's just like, I'll get him in 72 hours. And I'm just like, is the rest of this series going to take place in the course of that 72 hours?
It was a weird thing to say, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you thought he's like, you can count on me no matter what. I'll never give up on getting him. I'm like, all right, it's the fugitive. He's going to always
Jordan,
chase this
it's
guy.
24.
But he was just like,
every
72
episode
hours.
takes place in the course of 1 hour for the next 72 hours.
That's right.
And, of course, we see Dr. Alex, Linda Hamilton, and Wishman. They have chosen to abandon their lives entirely and will now find unskilled labor jobs in the want ads of the newspaper as they travel across the country to get to Seattle to meet a friend of the lawyers. That's, I guess, the setup for the series.
Was that what they said? I missed that
Yeah,
part.
they're going to go to Seattle
Yeah,
to
me
meet a friend
too.
of the lawyers.
Wow.
Interesting. So the point of the series then going forward, because if we hadn't mentioned it at the beginning of this was, at the time period where you would sometimes put a pilot on TV, a TV movie length. This isn't, I don't know how this could have stretched out to TV movie length, but, and then, people would watch it and they go, yeah, I think we want more of this. They go, great, make it a series. But like, there's no one involved in this could have thought that there was legs on this thing. Like, it's going to be every week they run away, because it's not like every town they go into, he's so destructive and so chaotic that, chaos happens. It's like, no, like he played with toilet paper. That's the worst thing that happened. So like,
Jordan, he went
why
to
do I
that
wanna watch these
kitchen,
adventures?
he turned on a blender, and then he also turned on a washing machine.
yeah. And did anything crazy with those happen? Nope. Just turn them on.
And then he got scolded for like 1 second.
Well, he didn't even get
You
scolded
wanted
that
it
much.
longer?
Linda Hamilton was telling him to stop, and then Doc Alex was yelling at Linda Hamilton to just unplug things. I was just like, why don't you help, Doc?
But then at the end he goes, why, like he was like, why did you do that? And then the kid's like, give him a break, kind of. Like that's what happened. That's the worst that kid did. And to be honest, that was one of my biggest issues with this, was that even a kid is worse than this guy. Like, show some, growing pains. Like, at the end, he's the one that makes them, like each other again. Like in the end,
Oh,
like
yeah,
he's like
yeah.
the good. He doesn't. He's like he's the one who makes them kiss and make up because they're arguing about like what kind of job they're gonna get or something like that. And I feel like there's no point in where you're like, oh, he's even like a kid. Like kids are more trouble than that. Kids can turn on a blender.
You're not wrong. That was such a weird ending scene where Linda Hamilton's furious that she has to give up her job and travel the country with Wishman. And then Wishman kind of throws a little bit of a fit in the back seat, shooting electricity between his two antennas. And they look back and they're like, oh, he's so cute. All's forgiven.
Yeah. To have more
And they
adventures.
drive off into the sunset.
Weird show. Weird show. Glad it never went any further than this. I would have hated to see this thing in pop culture.
Like toys in stores.
Wish it was. Oh, the toys. Would it be like a baby doll or would it be like a Barbie?
It'd be a baby doll, and if you pick it up and squeeze it by its bum, it talks.
Or it goes, ooh.
I think you get a 3-foot tall
Take me to
version
the
you
shower.
bring home to befriend your child. All right.
I liked it.
Well, in that case, why don't we rate this series, this TV pilot thing? Typically, Allie, what we do is out of sort of 10 stars, very IMDb style, you can give it anything from 0 to 10, I guess, 1 to 10.
Okay. But is this based on like what I would rate it as an actual
It's your personal
or
opinion.
what I
What you
felt?
felt, your feelings.
Anything. You could say how much you enjoyed it. You don't have to say like compared to like, Kurosawa or something, unless you want to. Whatever you feel.
So I was, I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed the experience because I was really excited to talk about it, But I think if it was on TV, I would change the channel. But I was excited that I got to talk about it after, so I was really excited. So in that sense, like I would give it a 10 and also a 0. Is that possible?
Was that an average of 5?
Okay, a 5. Perfect. Straight down the middle.
Jordan, what did you think?
It's a weird beast because we've seen a lot of stuff like, some pretty good, more bad. And this is like at all times super derivative. Like there's nothing interesting in the characters. There's nothing interesting in the story. It's clearly like someone on a weekend had to come up with an ET idea and they at least do something different than ET, but not anything interesting. But I know Luke's going to disagree. I never was that bored weirdly. I was just like, stuff's happening. But it's like not good by any stretch. But I didn't hate it for whatever reason. And I don't know. His little freaky face made me laugh. So 3 to 10.
3 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, obviously the plot is the worst part. It's like it's so boring, and I hate when I have to like put up with it. And I hate the look of the little freak, but it did make me really upset and angry. So that's an emotion I felt while watching it. To the point where I was just like, I couldn't stop watching it because I was like, oh, show the little freak again. I'm so mad at it. And I like seeing Linda Hamilton. I'm gonna go 4, I think. I don't really know what to do with this. It's so bad, and the monster's so awful to look at. But something about it, you can't take your eyes off of it.
Yeah.
Also, I was just having a thought about the ET thing, where I feel like E.T. was motivated to do something. He wanted to go home,
Yeah.
And this guy didn't want to do fucking anything.
He's too dumb.
He's just like, I'll do whatever. I'll go with you. Like, he didn't have a personality at all.
You're absolutely right. He had no personality. He had no
No.
agency. We don't know what he wanted or didn't
No.
want. He just was there. And it's like the characters that were moving around, Linda Hamilton and Alex. I like that we only refer to her as Linda Hamilton, but they didn't even really know what they were doing. Like Alex sort of was trying to make a moral stance, but like, was he? And it was kind of like thrown in after the fact. So that's one of the weirdest things about it. It's a good point you make. It's like, we don't learn anything about Wishman. Like maybe he's horrible. Maybe he's not. Maybe we don't even know if he wants to be on the journey. Maybe he doesn't even have the capacity to.
Well, the thing is, by the end of this episode, it felt to me like they settled in on the idea that Wishman is basically a golden retriever. Like he's not any more than that. So it's like there's no personality beyond just like, oh, he's your new pet.
Yeah.
And they treat him like one.
They really do.
Well, worse. They treat them worse than people treat their
Yeah,
pets.
you're not supposed to leave a dog in a car either.
Shoved in a bag of dog food.
Shoved roughly into a bag.
All right. Well, Allie, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this weird Wishman show.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
It was a good one to talk about. I was happy that we were going to have a guest on to see this little freak, so it wasn't just me.
I enjoyed.
And I picked it specifically for Allie. I don't know why, but I was like, she's gonna watch Wishman.
Yeah, and I felt that, like, when you sent Wish, like, it's good. I didn't even know anything about it. You're like, I picked Wishman. Again, I thought it was Wishman and Scary Movie, but I felt like you selected it for me, and I appreciate that.
Well, I need to wrap this up, but I just want to say really quickly, because it just occurred to me, I thought for sure he was going to grant wishes.
Yeah.
Well, why was his name? Okay, so aside from Wishman, like, it's not a last name. Like, I don't understand that. It's not like Goldman. You know, why is it Wishman? And also, he's a child.
I don't know. I guess because Dr. Wish created him. He's like, now he's Wishman. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense at any point.
Yeah, so if it was Dr. Gold, it would have been Goldman. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What if the series was called Goldman? Make as much sense, I guess.
You know what it should be called? Free Man, because now he's free.
Dr. Free.
Dr. Free.
Yeah, Dr.
But spelled
Free.
F-R-I-E.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough. We should move on. Listener, if you want to get a hold of us and talk to us about Wishman, you can email us at continuumdrag@gmail.com. And, of course, on Instagram, X, and Facebook, we're going to have clips from Wishman. So you can see this fleshy little monster running around, turning on appliances.
And he plays with toilet paper. He gets his butt grabbed.
Yeah.
That's the thing that happens.
He looks at women in the shower.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got all the hallmarks of a cute character. But, listener, thank you for joining us. And Jordan, we'll see you on the next one.
I'll see you then.
Can't get enough Continuum Drag? Commission a bonus episode for charity.
Want us to watch an episode we missed after using the escape pod or during a best of run? No problem.
Is there an episode of a series we've never watched or a TV movie you want us to cover? You got it.
Wish we'd comment on your favorite movie, content, or other weird media? Sure, why not?
All you have to do is make a donation to one of the charities selected by past guests on our website.
We suggest a donation of $50 per television hour of content we're watching, but everyone's means are different, so give what you can.
Get all the details about bonus episodes for charity on our website, continuumdrag.podbean.com, or follow the links in our social media profiles.
Continuum Drag is recorded in Ontario, Canada, and Seoul, South Korea. Theme music by James Rick Seidler. Produced by Jordan Dullick and Luke Black. Special thanks to Aaron Hughes.